episode of Camp Tales. Super excited about today because today I am joined by my friend and my British redcoat, Napuna Sebastian Chamantha Wijesekera. I can never say your last name. Wijesekera. Wijesekera. Can you say it for me? Wijesekera. There it is. It's not very British, but you are affectionately known simply as Chams.
Yeah.
Well, cheerio, Chams.
Cheerio.
So we were joking about this when you were here that like British people always say cheerio. And you're like, I have never heard a British person say the word cheerio. And so it's like stereotypical, British sayings. But then you sent me a video after you got back to the United Kingdom of like, was it like a stadium cheering cheerio or something like that?
They were like shouting at some guy, like, cause he was walking off the pitch. They were saying cheerio to him. The whole stadium was shouting that at him. I was like, there's no way.
Like, this is the first time ever I've actually heard British people say this.
Yeah.
And you're like, and it proved Derrick right. This is not good. And just for clarification for for our American listeners, he said somebody was walking off the pitch. That is a soccer reference for the field. So we know. All right. Cause it could possibly throw some people off there. So just want everybody to know he's talking about soccer. All right. So, well, Chams, man, it's great to see you, obviously, and it's going to be fun talking to you again. So let's start off a little bit with some icebreaker questions.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you were here in the States, you came over to the house one time to hang out, and you and the kids played Mario Kart, and we found that you were quite proficient in the Mario Kart game. All right. So here's my icebreaker question. Okay. This is not the one that you normally would select. Okay. But the one that seems to be most like you, which Mario Kart character are you?
Which one am I most like or not? Which one would I pick? Which one I'm like?
Yeah, which one you were like?
Difficult. That's difficult. I'm just trying to think of all the characters now. I'd say probably Luigi. I like staying in the shadows, a little bit quiet behind whoever Mario is. I don't want to be the main character. I like lurking in the shadows.
Lurking in the shadows, so you're a creeper. Awesome. That's what we like to see. Awesome. Good. And are you also scared of the dark?
No, not really, no. I'm scared of driving in the dark. I don't like driving in the dark.
Okay.
Because there's crazy drivers over here.
And you guys drive on the opposite side of the road, right?
You guys drive on the opposite side. We drive the normal way.
No, we drive on the right side of the road. This is why we won the war. All right? Let's just be honest. Although the British, they don't, you guys don't acknowledge the fact that you lost the war, correct?
I decline to comment.
You declined to comment. I love it. All right. So you're going to go with Luigi as the Mario Kart character you're most like. Okay. I love that. I was going to say Bowser, but that's fine.
Why is that? What is that?
I'm just kidding with you. I'm just kidding. It was either that or Princess Peach. I wasn't sure which direction to go. You have immediately decided this was a bad idea to do this interview.
Yeah.
All right. Here's another icebreaker question for you. Okay. I'm a genie in a bottle. All right.
Oh, no.
And I just follow me. All right. So I'm a genie in a bottle. All right. And I have granted you 3 wishes. What 3 wishes are you choosing? And you can't ask for more wishes. You can't do that.
3 wishes. Can it just be like anything at all? The first one, probably an infinite supply of Pepsi Met. As I say that because I've got like a million cans in front of me.
Oh my word.
Tango. I've got some Fanta in front of me as well. So I love my canned drinks.
I love it. Okay, so that's 1, infinite supply. Got it. You got 2 to go.
What else could I want? I would love for something like Chick-fil-A, more Chick-fil-A's in the UK.
More Chick-fil-A's in the UK. I like that. All right.
Because we have one in London and I can't be bothered to drive down 3 hours to get Chick-fil-A.
Oh. So basically we just need to convert the UK to Christianity. That's pretty much what that is.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. You got 1 more to go. Make it count, man. 1 more to go.
For the US to admit that the UK is better.
No, I cannot grant that wish. That is absolutely, that's against the rules. We can't do that. Well played, Chamantha.
Yeah.
So okay, good. I got 1 more icebreaker question. Then we have to talk about your name for a second. Okay. So this is a would you rather.
Oh yeah.
It's a would you rather question. So I'm going to give you 2 options and you have to choose one and tell me why. Okay.
Yeah.
So here we go. Would you rather fight. Okay? Like put up your dukes, fight. Okay? One horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses.
It's funny that you asked this because I asked my friend this like 2 months ago.
What?
This exact question. It was so random. He just looked at me like, am I okay?
How in the world did you ask them the same question?
I don't know. That's why I asked him, because I didn't know what the answer would be.
Well, now you've been asked this question, so now you have to give me the answer.
I think, speaking from experience, I've been chased by ducks and I was terrified. So I don't know if I'd want to be chased, fight a horse-sized duck. But then ducks can be quite big, so I don't know if I'd want 100 horses of like a horse-sized, duck-sized horses chasing me.
That's also true.
Do I get a weapon is the question, or is it just my fist?
Do you get a weapon? It's just your fist. Just your fist and your feet. You're allowed to kick.
I reckon a horse-sized duck, because 100 duck-sized horses would be too tiring to fight.
It's too exhausting.
Yeah, it's too much. After the first 10, I'd be done. I'd admit defeat.
I love it. I love it. You would just admit defeat? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Just like
horses
the British.
Are quite strong. They're quite... Okay. I found out recently that, you know how you kept going on about the Boston Tea Party?
Yeah.
I found out it wasn't even British tea. It was American tea that you dumped into the river or to wherever it was. It wasn't even British tea.
Who told you that?
I found it. We looked back in the history and we found out that it was an American-owned company.
You looked back into the history, but whose history book were you reading?
The general history book. The general history.
From Britain? Yeah, that makes sense.
It was your tea.
We're about to go to war again with the Britain because of this. I love the fact that, like, the entire summer when you were here, this was the ongoing comments of the fact that we won the war. I love it. I love it. So, all right. So before I get into any other like questions, I've got this question. All right. So at the very beginning, I introduced you as Napuna, Sebastian, Chams Wijesekera. So walk us through why so many names and why you chose to go by Chams.
Well, to be honest, 4 names isn't a lot for me. My mum has 12.
Your mom has 12. I thought it was 9.
No, I think it's 12, and then she uses 9 of them legally.
Holy cow.
It's ridiculous because I can't even remember it.
You can't remember her entire name?
I can remember 5 of them.
So why so many names?
Well, each one has its own meaning, I guess. Napuna, well, from my mum's side of the family, since my grandfather, every single person has had a name that begins with N. So they've just sort of carried on this tradition down to me, my brother, even my cousins. All of their names begins with N. So, and at the time, my dad really liked the name Napuna because he had a friend that was like rich and wealthy called Napuna.
Okay.
So I think that's why. There's also a rice company called Napuna that has no relevance at all, but I just like the fact that there's a rice company named after me. Sebastian was because my grandmother was Catholic and she was obsessed with Saint Sebastian. And technically when I was born on the 19th, but in Sri Lanka it was the 20th when I was born. So, which is Saint Sebastian's Day. So she was like, oh, Sebastian. She was obsessed with it. She was like, you got a name of Sebastian. And then that's where that name came from. Shamantha is actually something that goes with my brother's name. So my brother's name's Nimantha, which is, so his follows that, you know, the N-all I just told you about. So that's his first name. But it's a mix of my mum's name and my dad's name put together.
Okay.
So then they wanted something that goes with it. Apparently people just start calling me Samantha instead. So I'm now a woman. And then Wijeseka is my last name. My last.
Hello. So we go by Chams, which is based off the Chamantha, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a whole lot easier than any of the other names. So we just go with Chams.
I was talking to Hayden about that.
Yeah.
When he called me Chams when he first saw me.
Chams. Well, I was trying to give it that British sound, you know? Not Chams. Like that's straight up American if I do that. And we joke. Well, I think we had another name for you while you're here, or not really a name, but we just kind of use it. Was it Napuna Matata? We had a lot of fun. But you don't like to be called Napuna, right?
I don't mind that. I get called it at school and in hospital because it's my first name.
Gotcha.
So a lot of my friends do use Napuna, but I prefer Chams.
But your real friends call you Chams.
Yeah, the ones outside of school.
Okay, there you go. Awesome. So tell us a little bit, man, about I guess about yourself. Like, obviously, you just gone through your names. Now, you had mentioned, in Sri Lanka, you were born on the 20th and not the 19th. So, I guess not historically, but like ethnically, you've got a part of your family that's Sri Lankan, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so, where's the Sri Lankan coming from, mom or dad?
Both.
Both. They're both from Sri Lanka. Nice. Okay. And so, how in the world did you become British?
Well, actually, when my parents were going to get married, my dad was here in the UK. So he flew from the UK back to Sri Lanka to get married. And then as soon as he got married, he flew back. So then my mum ended up having to come here and settle down, get the visa and stuff and settle down here.
But so you weren't born in Sri Lanka, but you've got family there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you actually travel there occasionally, I guess every couple years or something like that?
Yeah.
Cool. To kind of visit family. But so you live in the United Kingdom. So tell us a little bit again about kind of where you're at, what you're doing right now, what your plans are, those kind of things.
Yeah. So, geographically, I'm in this, it's called the Midlands of England. It's called the East Midlands in a place called Leicester. Right now, I think for us, we call it college, but you guys call it high school, I think. It's very confusing.
True. I agree.
Because it's high school for you guys, but I'm doing your college level classes, so it doesn't make any sense.
And you always call it university.
You have colleges that have university at the end of their name.
We do too. Yeah, we do. But like we say just college or, we don't go around going, I'm going to university.
Spot on. The accent was spot on.
So I've been watching Downton Abbey recently. That's why I can do a British accent. That's what it is.
We just call it uni. We don't say university. We just say uni.
Uni?
Yeah. So I'm at college or high school right now. I've got, like I've told you earlier, I've got 12 exams that are coming up, which is quite stressful. But hopefully if I do well on them, then in September, I'm starting to do my medicine training at uni. So I'll be training to be a doctor the next 5 years. It's just stressful. I mean, I've even got my own stethoscope now as well.
Whoa, look at you. Wow.
It's got my name on it as well, engraved on it.
Does it really?
Yeah, I can show you. It says my first name. It says Napuno on it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's super cool, man. I love that.
So I've got that ready as well. Yeah, it's just stressful getting through these next exams. God is with me and he'll help me. But yeah, what was the other question?
Okay, so you're going to go into medicine to be a doctor. Is there a specific medical field that you're going into?
So I have to do my general training first, and then it's called 2 foundation years after. So I've got 5 years of training, then I've got to do 2 years by myself in a hospital, and then I can go on to do training. I'm hoping to do either like cardiology or like orthopedics, something to do with that, because those are 2 of my like really big interests.
That's very cool.
You can tell I really often injure my bones and stuff. That's where the orthopedics come from, as you can tell.
Yeah, we're going to talk about some of your injuries here in just a little bit, I think. Well, that's awesome. So again, you're in the UK, you're in school, all that different stuff. So how in the world did you come to be at Bancroft last summer? Like, walk us through, I guess, like that process and how that kind of opened up for you.
Yeah. So last year, I was meant to sit the exams I'm sitting now last year, but around September, October, I started getting ill and I ended up being in hospital for a long period of time. So I decided around January, February that I wasn't going to continue with school for that year. I was going to take some time off and recover and just rest a little bit. And then next year I'll sit my exams. And one day while I was looking around for some things to do, I didn't want to just stay at home doing nothing for like 6 months. So I was looking for things to do, and this ad about doing some camps in America came up. So I signed up at like 1 a.m. for it. And I had the interview that same day. She was like, "Oh, I saw it was a pretty last minute decision. Is there any reason for it?" And I was like, there's no reason. I'm just bored. But yeah, so then I was looking around at quite a few camps. I saw there's quite a lot of Christian camps as well, which it piqued my interest. And I think I actually got a message from you requesting to have an interview. Because all these other camps was me requesting to have an interview with them. But for you, it was actually you guys who reached out to me. And I was like, because I already had an offer at the time. I was like, I'll still interview and see how it goes. So we had an interview and we did a Bible study. We looked through James. I don't know if you remember that. We're talking about James,
Yeah.
which is quite interesting because we actually did James when I came there. So that was really nice. And we prayed about it. And at the end of the interview, like, okay, just go away and pray about it and see how you feel. And I don't know, like after praying so much, I felt like Bancroft was the right place for me. It was obviously a lot smaller than some of the other camps, but I think that is what I needed this summer. And looking back at it, looking back at this past year, Bancroft was definitely the place I needed to be. So much happened this year, but everything happened for a reason, and I have no regrets at all. Like I loved my time there, and it's probably the best summer I've had ever.
Man, I love that. Yeah, I remember. So that was through an organization called Camp Leaders, right?
Yeah.
That's who that was through. And yeah, I remember. So like when I was going through, and like there's all these different people that are on there that you can just like click on and kind of read about. Every time I would click on somebody, I would immediately go to the very end of like your biography or whatever, your bio that's there for all of the different candidates, and I would look at their testimony. Like, do they, consider themselves Christian or whatever it is? And then there's a space where people could actually write something. And I had looked at some different ones, and they would mark Christian, and then I would read their testimony, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure about that. But when I was reading through yours, there were some things that stood out to me, and I thought, first of all, I think this guy's genuine, and number two, it just sounds like his motive, and his heart seems to be right in what he wants to do, even though you were apparently just bored. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to reach out to the guy, and let's just see what happens. And yeah, man, I know from that first interview that we did, I kind of walked away from that going, man, I hope he comes, because I think he would be a great fit, here for us. And like you said, so you already had an offer, and it was a ministry that was much larger than ours, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So why did you kind of look at it and say, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to go to Bancroft instead of this larger camp? What was your thinking through that?
I think like at the time as well, I was helping out at my current youth group, and I think like what I was specifically doing as well is I was speaking to some of the smaller groups and the quieter kids rather than trying to do the whole big thing. And I think for me personally, the more I prayed, the more it was like God wants you to be in here, even though it's smaller, you'd be a better fit here than trying to go out to somewhere that's bigger. And I felt like I was going to have more of that like closer connection with the campers, and it would be like everyone knows each other rather than like a place where there's 3,000 different kids or like 300 different staff members. You know what I mean? Like even now I still speak to like the people I worked with at Bancroft. I feel like that connection is never going to be lost because of how close knit we all were.
Yeah. That is one of the things about Bancroft that I love. For as a camp director, there's a part of me that's like, I would love, to grow, and we've got 3,000 kids every summer, and all that kind of stuff, and I think there are definitely ministries that are needed like that, and there are places for that. And I think that's great, but I do think that's one of the things about Bancroft that I love so much is that like it is close knit. Like you get to know pretty much not just the campers in your cabin, but you get to know the majority, if not all, of the campers in some way, shape, or form, right?
Yeah.
And then even more so from a staff, like counselors, like you guys, like you have to come together, because there's just a smaller group, which is kind of cool. And so, yeah, I think, and it was, you and Balint, who is a counselor from Hungary, both of you guys, coming from two completely different countries to America, and not just America, because I think, at least this is the way it was with Balint, that like you think America and you think New York City.
Yeah.
Not Kingsport, Tennessee. That like they're not putting that in like travel brochures around the world. You know what I mean? And so when you came, okay, so you had like this preconceived idea. Like, did it meet your expectations? I guess whenever you came.
I think considering I landed in Orlando first, I felt like I was in, this is America, busy streets, and you see all the cars, the sidewalks, the traffic lights that I don't know how to work. Yeah, I think that was like my expectation. But when I landed in Tennessee, it was a little bit different. It was more rural and countryside. And I think that's definitely what I preferred rather than the busy streets, because I get that a lot here. Like there's so many busy streets, there's traffic that you have to sit in for hours. And I'm just like, I just wanted to escape that as well. So being in such a nice rural town, it was obviously different to what I expected, but it was different in a good way.
And so I've got another question for you, because I think it fits into the small town, rural America, which would be completely different than New York City. In that, whenever you came over, you said that there was one thing that you absolutely had to do when you were in America. And what was that?
Shoot a gun.
You wanted to shoot a gun. That's what you wanted to do. So like, why was that like the absolutely number one thing that you had to do before you went back to the UK?
I don't know, like we make a lot of jokes over here about like Americans shooting guns and stuff like that. A lot of people say it's not safe or whatever, but I don't know. I felt like, I just wanted to have that freedom to see what it's like to shoot a gun. And when I actually did it, there was so much adrenaline running through me. I loved it so much.
You say, because you did get a chance to actually shoot a gun, or did you shoot multiple guns that day, or was it just the one?
Yeah, I think it was a pistol and a rifle that I shot.
Yeah. And so you actually did get to do it. I love that. There was so much adrenaline running through you as you're getting ready to shoot this gun. Yeah, I mean, I can't think of a better place to where if your goal, like the one thing on your bucket list to come to America is to shoot a gun, I can't think of a better place than Northeast Tennessee in the country in the South. You know what I mean? Like, that is the place to go. Again, God in his providence knew the desires of your heart, and he sent you to Northeast Tennessee to shoot a gun. So you came to Bancroft. So whenever you came, was it like culture shock for you whenever you came?
Yeah, there was quite a lot of things that was different. Even the food itself was quite a culture shock to me. Like things that you eat, things that I don't know. Just a lot of it was really different, and it was a hard time adjusting. But I think after some time, like obviously I was there for quite a long time, I started learning and embracing the culture a little bit, getting used to it, getting used to bottled water being shouted at me every morning.
That's right. We still joke about that now. Bottled water. For our American listeners, that's bottled water. But for the bottled water, but for the British, it was what?
Even things small as like, biscuits. I even talk about it now, like biscuits and stuff like that. At first, we call them scones or like muffins or something like that. But it was so confusing to me. Like, what's a biscuit? A biscuit's something that you like a cookie. That's what we call a biscuit.
No. See, again, this is why you lost the war. You don't know the difference between all these things, man. Because I remember taking you to Bojangles one day. I'm like, all right, this is a biscuit. What do you call these? And you're like, oh, we call these scones. I'm like, no, scones is something you buy at Starbucks. And then you're like, no, these are what we call cookies. And I'm like, no. I'll show you a cookie. Let's go get a chocolate chip one.
And it was huge.
Like, what, the biscuit?
The cookie. Your cookie is like huge. That's the size of my face.
I know, man. It was so good. I'm telling you, man, we just know what we're doing in America. That's what it is. Especially when it comes to eating and getting fat. We really know what we're doing. So you came, a little bit of culture shock maybe. And so your primary role was to be a senior counselor during camp, right? But even in your time here, so like you were here, like 2 weeks early, give or take, or a week and a half early, something like that, before we started counselor training.
Yeah.
Right? And so you were here, and then you went through counselor training. You were here for all of our rental groups as well, serving in those. And so, so you were working just on general staff, summer staff. And then when our camp weeks hit, that's when you turned into a counselor and those kind of things. But while you were here, what would you say was probably like your biggest struggle, I guess, while you were here?
I think being away from family and friends was definitely different, because I've been away before. Being so far away and having a time difference as well, it was really hard to balance having that contact with my parents and like talking to my friends, because they were going through exams at that time. So communicating to them, like asking how it's going and stuff, it was definitely difficult. But obviously I learned to depend on some of the people here, lean on God more. I actually had a friend from the UK that was also in America, and we were in the same time zone, so I could speak to him as well.
Nice.
So yeah, I learned different ways to manage and cope, but it was definitely difficult.
I was just saying, and you had a difficult summer, just all around.
Yeah.
So like, I know, like even before like our camp weeks actually started, like you were having some issues of things, taking place back home, with family and health and, different issues like that. But then even while you were here, you had issues physically as well in a couple different ways too. So like, what was that like for you being so far away from home, having those issues at home, right? And I think I remember telling you one time, like, if you feel at any point that you need to go back to the UK, like, we'll make sure you get home as quickly as possible, and you don't have to worry about whatever it is here. But still, like, being so far away, that's not like a quick, hey, let's just head back home real quick. Like, there's a lot of logistical things that would have had to taken place. How was it being that far away and dealing with, the things that were happening back at home that you really couldn't do anything about, but then also having to deal with your own personal struggles, whether physical or emotional, and those types of things?
Yeah, it was difficult. It was definitely a big struggle. But I think there was a reason why everything happened the way it did, and everything aligned the way that it did. And I had to trust in God and lean on Him. Looking back, it gave me an opportunity to be patient and to not take things into my own control, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
So I think, especially at that time before I came, I felt like I had to control everything. I had to do everything. I had to sort everything out myself. But being so far away meant that I had to trust God that He would control it. He would take care of the situation. And especially with my health, being helpless in a different country because I can't drive myself, I can't do anything. I had to trust in God. It meant that I had to ask for help as well, instead of just saying that I'm okay, I'll deal with it. That taught me a lot as well, like being able to ask and just ask for prayer as well, lean on other people for their wisdom, their encouragement. But yeah, it was definitely an eye opener this summer, last summer.
I just say, I think since my time here, I think you probably have had the hardest summer of anybody I've seen since I've been here. I mean, it was coming from every angle for you, and I mean, it was unbelievable. I mean, like, again, like, I remember conversations that we would have in my office, like you would be like, "Excuse me, can I talk to you for a minute?" I'm like, "Chams, of course. You're always welcome to talk to me." and and we would just sit in my office and talk about different things, that you were going through, and situations that you were, having to deal with. And then even on top of that, there was the aspect of like the physical injury. So walk us through this physical injury real fast. Can you just, for our listeners, can you just walk us through what the injury was and how it came about? Would you be, can you do that for us?
Yeah, so I ended up tearing my quad muscle. And I think it was a sprain to the foot. How it actually happened is quite ironic, considering I'm a swimming instructor and now I'm a trained lifeguard, because I actually injured it trying to jump into a pool. I did a little run up, which you should never do, never run around a swimming pool. I ran, and as I was going to jump, my foot got stuck and I jumped out, and apparently there was an audible pop before I fell into the pool. So I sort of dragged myself out when I noticed I couldn't move my left leg. And then I got carried by the big friendly giant to the golf cart. Yeah. So then obviously I think it was on, did it happen on July 3rd? No. And then the 4th of July, I was in the crutches and the boot, just enjoying the 4th of July with a torn quad. I couldn't even get to the 4th of July without injuring myself.
Yeah, it was, I remember how ironic that actually was, knowing that you, like, one of the reasons I was like, oh, great, this is going to be a great hire for us. He's a swimming instructor. He can kind of help in those situations. And then, he can't even jump into a pool correctly and blows his entire leg out. But from that, so it made the rest of the summer pretty interesting because you were on different medications for that. Then you were still a trooper, so we had to get you around, and there were times where you were actually driving the golf cart around, or we would have to come pick you up. We would have to wrap your leg every single day, pretty tight. But you still attempted to be out there with the campers and all their stuff. I think there was one time you were like passing out in the screened-in pavilion, and I had to come get you, and I think Hayden and I kind of carried you into the like one of the rooms and just laid you down, and you slept for like 5 hours or something. Like, you were completely you were gone. You were gone. To which I think it was at that point where we decided, yeah, we're going to get your meds changed because I don't think these are working well. But yeah, man, like that had to be, and actually you went home still having to wrap your leg.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like it was like the rest of the summer and even all the way traveling back to the UK, you were a gimp, right? Yep. It's just, yep. That's all I got. It's yep.
Oh, that was a nightmare traveling back alone.
I do remember that. I remember, some of, we took you down and we took you to the airport and we're like, well, see you, Chams. And you just kind of got rolled off by one of the like flight attendant people in a wheelchair. We're like, well, good luck. So yeah, like I don't know. I think for you, like one of the things that, especially kind of looking back on everything that you experienced, like I guess like Satan was attacking you like crazy, and so and for me personally, like I don't know why was he attacking you that much? It seems like, but for some reason, like Satan did not want you to be here and did not want you participating in camp ministry and specifically here at Bancroft. And I guess I look at something like that and I'm thinking, well, then I'm glad you did participate.
Yeah.
Because that means the Lord was using you in ways that that Satan didn't want you to be used, right? And then I believe that the Lord was working in you in a way that Satan didn't want the Lord to work in your heart.
Yeah.
So like what would be, a couple things that you learned while you were here in America and at Bancroft that the Lord's still teaching you and growing you in?
I think patience is definitely one of the biggest things. At times I can be quite an impatient person, but I think, especially like I said earlier, learning to depend on God and be patient with what he's doing. That's something big that I learned over the summer and something I'm still learning now. I mean, thing that happened last summer did happen for a reason. And without every single one of those things happening, I wouldn't be in the specific place I am right now. So I think definitely being patient with the Lord was a huge lesson to me. Definitely taking that leadership of doing Bible studies with some of my friends as well. They're Catholics at the minute, but I've encouraged them to read the Bible more and to look at scripture and think about how they can actually apply it to their life rather than just looking at it and reading it in the mass.
Good.
Like even at the minute, we're currently going through 1 Corinthians, and they definitely struggle with reading long passages. So we found a Bible study where we go through 3 verses a day. So we're going through the first 3 chapters and we're doing 3 verses a day. We're currently on day 20, which is good. So learning to be patient with them as well, but to also hit that leadership and encourage them to read their Bibles more.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love that. Yeah, that's really, really cool. So tell me a little bit, what were some of your favorite memories, I guess, from your time here at Bancroft? Do you have any stories that you can tell us?
One of them was being sent down by my camp director down the zip line without a tail.
I don't know what you thought. What? Huh? Because
I remember I'd come up with my crutches up to the top of the zipline tower, because a kid didn't want to get sent down. I can't remember if he actually did get sent down in the end. I think maybe he did. But
I think so.
Then we were like, oh, how do I get back down? So we were like, okay, we'll send you on the zip line. We'll take your crutches down for you. So I got hooked up by my own camp director. I got hooked up and I got sent down. And then I'm quite a heavy person, so obviously I'm a little bit closer to the ground when I'm coming down the zip line. And I hear 2 of the other counselors screaming at me, and I'm like, what's going on? And they're shouting, you don't have a tail. And I start screaming and lifting my legs up to the sky so I don't hit it. And I'm like, well, how am I meant to get back up? Everyone went into a panic of what to do. Oh, that was such a lovely moment. Obviously not at the time. Not at the time, I was definitely not the happiest. But looking back, it was one of the funniest moments that summer. All
right, so basically, you in your crutches with your leg injury, you decided to climb the stairs inside our 40-foot rock wall all the way to the top, okay? Because a kid was too scared to go, right? And so you're like, hey, if you go, I'll go. That kind of a deal. Is that pretty much what that was?
Yeah. To encourage him to go down.
Yeah, to encourage him to go down. So you make your crippled way all the way up to the top, right? And we decided to send you down. And I was the one that your camp director, as you're referencing, was me, right? Yeah, so I'm the one who trains all of our counselors on the safety procedures for our zip line. And I missed one with Chams, which at least the one I missed was not like life-threatening, like you're going to fall and plummet to your death. So the point, just for our listeners, when you're screaming, or when they're screaming, you don't have a tail. What that means is part of our safety procedures is we actually clip on the back of the harness of whoever is going down the zip line, a rope with a knot on the bottom that we call the tail. And that has nothing to do with the person actually zip lining and their safety. What it has to do with is the person at the end of the zip line catching them as they come in, just to make it a little bit easier to catch them and get them up to where they need to go to unhook them. Cham's life was never in danger. Let's just make that official.
My foot was in danger.
Your foot, maybe, but your body and your soul, no. It just made for a great story afterwards, because the way that they had to catch Chams then was either to like bear hug him as he comes down, or try to like grab his leg or maneuver him. How did they actually catch you at the bottom?
I think one of them like bear hugged me and pushed me up, because obviously they were quite heavy. They had to get another person to push me up.
I love it. Listen, I was just trying to send you off with a bang. That's pretty much what it was, man. That's
quite literally.
Awesome. Well, what other, give us, maybe one or two more memories maybe that you had that you reflect back on as good memories, not bad ones, good ones.
Something that I really enjoyed was, one day, I think after the chapel, it was with our teen week. After chapel, I can't remember what the talk was about, but it was a very powerful talk, I think, because I had quite a lot of campers that came to me and like they were speaking to a lot of things to me about it. And then even that night, we went back to the cabin, and me and Berlin had quite a long and deep talk with the campers. I think it was very meaningful, and I built those relationships with those campers. It was quite unfortunate. It was towards the end of the week, but I think that made it a lot easier to understand what some of those campers were going through, and understanding that a lot of them are going through quite a lot, even though they might not be from Christian backgrounds as well. It was interesting to see how God was moving in them and how they needed to specifically be in that place at that time. At the time, I didn't realize, but one of the talks we had with the campers was something that I myself needed to hear later that week. As you remember, it was very difficult. But I think that talk in itself was one of the highlights of my summer as well. Because looking back at how I was talking about it without realizing that's what I needed to hear, it was amazing to see God's grace in that moment.
Yeah. And I mean, that really is one of the things about, I think, just camp ministry as a whole. Like you said, like you hated that it was at the end of the week, but it's almost like that seems to happen every week, at least to some degree. Like there's campers, like the Lord is working in their hearts throughout the week, and then they get to this point where they break, and they're like, I'm just going to surrender this, and I'm going to talk to somebody about it. And I think I was with you in the chapel, I think, for one of those.
Yeah,
we're talking to some guys, and yeah, I mean, you just, it's amazing. And especially sometimes when you see like people who seem to be totally opposite scenarios and backgrounds and, all that kind of different stuff, but dealing with such similar issues, and they're relating to one another, right? And now they're building this bond with one another. I thought that was super cool, And I think it's also neat too, how the Lord in his goodness, like he knows what we need all the time.
Yeah.
He knows what we need to hear. And sometimes we don't hear him telling us those things until he puts us in a position where we have to share those truths with somebody else.
Yeah.
And then like you said, like all of a sudden then you sit back and you're like, oh, yeah, I need that too.
Yeah.
That was cool. I like that. Okay, cool. Can you give me one more?
One more. Can't think of a good story, a good juicy story.
Good juicy story. But
one thing was actually driving in America.
But yeah, you did get to drive. That's right.
Obviously, I found out a bit too late that I was allowed to drive in America with my visa. So one of the youth pastors that at the church I was going to, he decided he's going to put this cripple with a boot and a leg wrapped around in the car and drive. But I think because you guys drive automatic cars, so you don't need to change gears. You don't need your left leg, which was interesting for me because I've only ever driven a manual. Obviously, that was a really crazy experience, driving on the wrong side of the road.
I'm glad nobody died.
It's a little bit confusing because when I'm turning to the left, I'm like, wait, I'm turning onto the left side of the road when I need to be on the right. Then the worst part about it is he trusted me behind the wheel with his son in the back, which made me even more nervous. I made it home safely. No one was injured. Nothing was.
I remember you frog hunting as well.
Oh, that was amazing. I was looking back at my videos recently.
Yeah. So you and some of the other guy counselors, not during camp weeks, obviously, because you're with the campers, but during some of those rental weeks or over the weekend, that kind of stuff. Every once in a while, I would get these videos of you guys out hunting frogs with like sticks that you guys have, like whittled down to spears. And yeah, wasn't there one point, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't there one point where there was a number, maybe like 4 of you guys who had gone frog hunting and you all had your shirts off walking back down the driveway like you had just conquered the world? Were you part of that?
Yes. Because we found about, I think it was like 60 frogs in the swimming pool.
And
so we just started hunting them. I remember one of the, I don't know if I can actually say this.
I can edit it if I need to.
But one of the counselors had dismembered the frog and got the legs so that it said JT on it and sent a picture to JT. I remember that because I saw the picture come up in my memory.
We're just trying to give you the full America experience. That's what we're trying to do.
It's quite manic because I come back here and everyone's like, "You what?" They were like, they were mortified with what I did.
Also, why you lost the war? They just can't handle it.
I think it was more about animal protection.
What's that? I'm just kidding. Great. We're gonna get censored on this one too. Well, Chams, man. Yeah, like that's one of the things that I love about this camp ministry and what we were able to do last summer, like having you here and having Belent here. Having these international people. One of the things that, kind of for me, reflecting back on last summer was just the diversity of the family of God, Like, I think, especially in Western culture, I think it's really easy for us to get so, like, narrow-minded of this is the church. Like, and unless you are, white conservative American, then you're probably not a Christian. But to know that like throughout scripture, we see where, God is calling people to himself from every nation, from every tribe, from every tongue, all around the world.
Yeah.
And so being able to experience that last summer, having you here with us and having Belent here with us was just something that, at least for me, I just sat back and I guess I just kind of relished in the fact that like, this is the family of God. The family of God is diverse and he is seeking, those who will follow him from every tribe and tongue and nation, and that because we, as Christians, we have the Holy Spirit dwelling in us. Like we have this unity with brothers and sisters in Christ around the world.
Yeah.
And I just loved seeing that, but then even just reflecting on it, of just, man, it was such a beautiful thing. It was such a beautiful thing, and then even just the connection that we still keep, I mean, you keep it with the guys more than I keep it with you, and I apologize for that because I'm a failure. No, but yeah, just the fact that like we're brothers and sisters in Christ, and I think that's such a beautiful thing that the Lord has blessed us with. Thanks for taking time today to do the interview. Thank you for your willingness just to follow the Lord, especially last year, and taking such a leap of faith to leave the United Kingdom and come to America on your own and experience the hot mess that is Northeast Tennessee and the dirty South. Like you left an imprint here, especially with all of us, in our hearts. And I hope that we were able to do the same for you as well.
100%, definitely. So I'm gonna come back next year.
Let's do it. You're always welcome. You know that. As long as you can get over here, just don't injure yourself again. That's all.
I'll injure myself on the way somehow.
Just know next time if you injure yourself here, we're just gonna put you down like a horse. What's gonna happen. So, but yeah, man, thanks again for your time, and just want you to know that I love you and miss you, man, and I know everybody here does too. And but yeah, it's good talking to you again today.
It was nice talking to you.
All right, man. Well, hey, good luck on the rest of your exams, all 12 of them that you have coming up, I guess. And we'll be praying for you that the Lord will give you the ability to recall all the information that you have studied and that you've learned so that you can do well in those exams and get accepted into university and become a doctor. And maybe one day you'll work on my heart. I don't know. We'll see.
Plan
to work on my heart? You trying to kill me, Chams? He's like, yeah, I'm going to work on your heart. I'm going to give you a real one.